Okay, moving on to a couple of things that are going on in the real world here. Couple of things, and these are from the past week, maybe like week and a half, but things we haven't really discussed. We have another source. These sources are speaking. We have another source that says that Andy Cohen, Dadeth Cohen, is panicking, that he is panicked over RHONJ and the future. Which, I mean, he should panic kind of thing. Look, again, we have RHONY, didn't work, the whole reboot. I'm still not convinced RHONY is definitely coming back. Again, we stood there at BravoCon 2 years ago and someone said to Andy, are we ever going to see RHUG Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip on the air because Carolyn Manzo is suing? And he said, yeah, you'll see it. And someone said, when? And he said, soon. Lies. So when Andy says that we're working on the cast of New York, I'm sure you are working on it, but I think they at least know that if they don't find it, they're not going to go ahead with the show. So the reboot, possibly the worst idea in Bravo history. Again, you should have just kept Luann and Ramona like you were headed to do, and the show would have been better than it is now. Oh, I have other stuff that I just realized I thought of too. So we're not going the RHONY style. And Atlanta, although, as we just discussed, is kind of a horrible season, I still think that they feel that Atlanta was a success. I think this mixed bag works more than the total reboot. I don't think they're going to reboot New Jersey. I think, listen, let's be very clear. Very clear. New Jersey would be completely rebooted right now, already filmed, ready to air on your TV screens if it wasn't for New York City, right? Like, I guess we never said that here before, but let's be honest, there would have been a total, complete reboot of RHONJ if it weren't for RHONY. They would have learned their lesson and they wouldn't have learned their lesson and they would have rebooted it, probably filming, wrapping up, ready to air right now with no Melissa, no Teresa, no Dolores, none of that. So there you go. I guess you could, for those of you that love Teresa or love Melissa, if anyone still cares, you should thank RHONY for the fact that New Jersey isn't completely rebooted. But behind closed doors, there's rumors. Now, I checked this, and it's a medium. Yeah, I don't know if this is exactly 100%. But a little bit, I've gotten some sources to confirm this behind the iron gates of NBC. But apparently, the source is that they've hit the panic button, that Andy is completely panicked over the future of RHONJ. And the last thing that Andy wants is another RHONY style reboot disaster. But the current cast, it's not working and they know it. Again, you did this to yourself if this was any other franchise. And I believe this from the bottom of my black heart. If this was any other franchise, Melissa Gorga and Dolores would be the ones leading this show into the future. And I kind of think that is it because we only really moved into the future with Kenya, Porsha, and Drew. So we only had three. I think if we were going to pick a third, it would have been Fuda. But I think if this were any other franchise, it would have been Melissa. I do not favor Melissa over Teresa, but Melissa deserves the job. She is on brand. She is a team player. She doesn't go psychotic. She doesn't storm out of interviews. She doesn't have a dark, loony husband. And love her or hate her, she's on brand and drop dead gorgeous, the right age. She is what housewives is. She does the job just like Kyle Richards, doesn't get too deep, doesn't get too crazy, and goes home. I just think you guys did this to yourself. You backed yourself into a corner with Teresa, and now letting Teresa go, which ultimately I don't see what choice they have. I just don't think it's interesting. And you did that to yourself by letting her spiral away. Again, the more time that goes on, I mean, do you realize since this pause and not knowing what to do, and they don't know what to do. If they knew what to do, we would be somewhere. And I know we're not going to do it this year, but you realize since we paused this, the whole thing about the $3 million has come out. All this stuff about Louis' sham alleged shams on TikTok have come out. Now he's not on TikTok. Melissa's selling cookies, being successful. I mean, it's all comes out the more, and now Teresa walks off an interview, the more they are observing, they're watching everything. And I just think personally, Teresa is hanging herself. A lot of others are hanging themselves. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of bad advice that people are being given. But apparently, the source goes on and says, that despite what Andy says, that they're doing a casting, that they have hit a wall and they don't know what to do and they have real problems and the panic has really set in behind the scenes, despite Andy's claims that it's a beloved franchise. And I think they learned their lesson. They're not just going to bring something back just for the sake of bringing it back. That's the whole mistake you made with RHONY. It wasn't just rebooting it, it was that you rushed it. It really was the beginning of the end if you think about it for Housewives. It really was because we never had these pauses before. And so they didn't pause New York. They didn't. They found Jenna and Bryn and Jessel so quickly. If you just, and it wasn't that quick, but it was quick if you just took your fucking time. And that's why Atlanta took 2 years to make it to the air. I mean, I still, if I went down the list, I like you, Aaron. You're coming back if the show comes back. Sai will be back. But I just don't see one person on that show where I understand how they were cast. I get Jenna. She's a big name. She's a fucking dud, Jenna Lyons. She's a fucking goddamn dud on your fucking screen. I mean, they don't have money. They're not interested. They don't have real money. And yes, Jenna has money. But I mean, couldn't we have had the Beverly Hills women of New York? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But Andy's panicked. That's what the source says. And I kind of believe it. Meanwhile, Marge is out here begging for a job at Bravo. Now, no offense to Marge. No, do you guys know my friend Marge, the Sarge? Do you know her? Um, anyway, she's begging for a job, but here's the good news for all of you that love Marge and hate Teresa. They're all begging for a job. So Marge was on her Instagram, I think, talking, and somehow she started talking about other franchises and said, I don't like Heather Gay. I mean, first of all, does anyone care about a feud between Margaret and Heather Gay? But Margaret was doing an Instagram live or something, I think, and she said, I don't like Heather Gay. By the way, I loved her. I thought she was fantastic, but she got offended because I said she was, shady about the black eye and she blamed production. And then Marge went on and on and on about how hard production works and how the cameramen are underpaid and producers are underpaid and they're the ones that don't have any of the glory and they're all behind the scenes and just production works so hard and I love production and these guys carry the cameras and they work in these sweatshop conditions and back rooms and I mean I'm exaggerating a little bit but basically she went on kissing production's ass forever and I'm like girl I